The streets of Zimbabwe's capital Harare erupted in joy on Tuesday after the country's leader, Robert Mugabe, resigned after 37 years in power. Mugabe, who at 93 years old was the oldest non-royal head of state in the world, stepped down after a week-long power struggle that followed a military takeover. The military had placed Mugabe under house arrest a week after the leader had sacked his former vice president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, in what was seen as a bid to place his wife, Grace Mugabe, in the line of succession. Keep up with this story and more by subscribing now. The ruling ZANU-PF party announced that Mnangagwa would be sworn in as the country's new president on Wednesday. Zimbabwe is due to hold elections in 2018, in which Mugabe was slated to stand. On the streets of Harare, people waved flags and sang "Yes," rejoicing in the end of Mugabe's reign. The president is the only leader that many Zimbabweans have known, having ruled since the country became independent from British colonial rule in 1980. People holding Zimbabwean flags celebrate in the street after the resignation of Zimbabwe's ex-president Robert Mugabe in Harare, Zimbabwe, on November 21. Marco Longari of PGT. Many chose to celebrate with members of the military, who have been lauded by the population as liberators for setting in motion the processes that led to Mugabe's removal. But others, including the head of regional bloc the African Union Guinea President Alpha Condé, said that the military takeover seems like a coup, and that the would never support it. People and soldiers rejoice after the resignation of Zimbabwe's president in Harare, Zimbabwe, on November 21. Many chose to celebrate with members of the military, who placed Mugabe under house arrest before he resigned Tuesday. Marco Longari of PGT. MPs in Zimbabwe's parliament reacted with jubilation when the speaker, Jacob Mutenda, announced Mugabe's resignation Tuesday. After Mugabe's continued refusal to step down, Parliament had opened impeachment proceedings against the now former president. Zimbabwe's members of parliament are joyous after President Mugabe's resignation. Mugabe's party ZANU-PF abandoned him in the days before he abdicated. JEKESAING and off PGT. MPs in Zimbabwe's parliament reacted with jubilation when the speaker, Jacob Mutenda, announced Mugabe's resignation Tuesday. JEKESAING and off PGT. Mugabe's intransigence had led to days of peaceful protests in Zimbabwe, as civilians called for the president to step aside. Under Mugabe's rule, Zimbabwe has been transformed from the so-called breadbasket of Africa to an economic disaster. Mugabe's controversial land reform policy, under which white-owned farmlands seized violently and often redistributed to his cronies, contributed to a crippling economic crisis that saw Zimbabwe abandon its national currency and endure one of the worst periods of hyperinflation ever witnessed. Feel like I 39 meters dreaming ___ emotional reactions coming in from Zimbabweans following the resignation of Robert Mugabe. Mugabe resigns. Pic.twitter.com 14key87